All right. What's up, fellas? Yeah, I know it's been a minute. I fell off. I just totally didn't make any logs of what I was reading, video logs, that is. I was still reading, some months more than others. Just, I didn't make a video. So that's what we're doing right now. But it's going to be everything I read from February through May, because I'm not about to drop like 5 videos. But June will get its own video because I read a good amount of books, and I feel like that's like the reset point, and I'm going to hopefully commit to doing this monthly and lock in. And I'll do another video for movies, I think. I can't even think of how many movies I've watched. But let's get started. First, big stack here. This is what I read in February. So kicking it off, we've got Command Authority by Tom Clancy and Mark Greaney. I read a few Tom Clancy books like Hunt for Red October and stuff. I gotta stop shaking the camera for real. And this one was pretty good. It was a good time. Actually, I don't know if I've read any other Tom Clancy books except for Hunt for Red October and this one. So I went from like the beginning of the lore, where the main guy is Jack Ryan, to I missed God knows how many books. And Jack Ryan's now the president, and its son is one of the main characters, so is Jack Ryan. But it was a good time. Very Tom Clancy. Honestly, it's been so many months since I read it. I remember liking it, not thinking it was incredible, but it was a good read for sure. Yeah, boom. Speed around, that one's done. Also, I'm spoiling the hell out of everything. This next one, A Legend of the Future by Agustin de Rojas. If I butcher any names, I apologize. This was, I think, it's Cuban science fiction. It was fire. Very, very surreal, super depressing book. So, like, from what I remember from the plot, these guys like are all raised, not guys gender neutral, multiple genders, everyone, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen on this crew, a spaceship crew. They're all like raised together to be like super tight from birth to make the mission more successful. And they go out on this mission, and it just like from the jump goes horribly wrong. Like in the book, I mean, from the jump at the start of the book goes terribly wrong, and like half the people like lose their lovers, or like the people that they're tight with. People are crippled, dying of cancer. It's horrendous. And like I think there's like 3 survivors for the most of the book, and it's just like about how their life is deteriorating as they try to get home and bring word of what happened. And I thought it was really fire. I was pretty engaged, and I was also quite depressed. Definitely not a happy book. On that topic of depressing books, we've got The Mist by Stephen King. Now, I enjoyed this. I'm a pretty big Stephen King fan. He's usually pretty trash at sticking the ending, in my opinion. Like, I can't believe I read like 900 pages of The Stand just for it to end like that. I was like, dude, like you were cooking the whole time. What happened? And then, honestly, same thing with Pet Sematary. Although that was only a few hundred pages. Like, dude, he was absolutely cooking with gas that entire time. Butchered the ending, in my opinion, bro. I don't care about Psycho Murder Baby. That shit was not scary. I feel like it did not fit with the rest of it. You know, I know it's a hot take. I know people love it. But I digress. Stephen King, not known for sticking the ending. And I say all that because I honestly don't even remember how this ends, which is probably a good thing, because if I remembered it ending poorly, then... Oh, no, yeah, I do kind of remember. It's like it's kind of a cliffhanger. Like, I feel like you could continue into something else, but at the same time, I wasn't really thirsting for it. It's a pretty good book. It's got the classic, like, insert random Stephen King sex scene when the guy's not even sure if his wife's dead for like a day, and then he just claps some random lady in a grocery store. All right, Stephen. And also, all of his main characters are like, I'm a guy from Maine. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And it's like, are you really inserting right now so you can get some poontang in a literary sense? I don't know, but it was enjoyable. The mist was freaky. The creatures were freaky. And I haven't seen the movie, but I do know the ending of the movie, and the ending of the movie is mad depressing and much different from the ending of the book. So, yeah. All right. Next one, we've got The Aeneid by Virgil. Now, I over the last, starting at the end of last year, I read the Iliad, and then I was like, okay, I was kind of in a Greek mythology mood, so I worked my way to the Aeneid. Just skip the Odyssey. I've read it before, but I do want to reread it sometime soon here, especially because we've got that Christopher Nolan movie coming out. Looks like it's going to be gas. I wonder if this is covering the mic. But yeah, the Aeneid is interesting because I'm really glad I read the historical context on it, because the Iliad and Odyssey and stuff are all kind of Homer, or attributed to Homer around the same time, but the Aeneid was written about Aeneas, who's a main character in the Iliad. He's a Trojan who escapes, right? And so basically, to give a little context, is he escapes and founds Rome eventually, and that's basically what the Aeneid's about. But the Aeneid is written by Virgil, who's a Roman poet, right? And he kind of wrote it because he felt that Rome was lacking in some boss-ass propaganda, or not propaganda, but just a myth about the founding of the state or whatever. So he taps into all of that. Not that they were lacking a myth, but he makes it into he writes the Aeneid and makes it a whole story, and there's a ton of callbacks to the Odyssey. It's a homage and stuff, or not the Odyssey, rather the Iliad, and it's very pro-Roman, and he gets all these visions of the future of awesome Roman emperors and cool stuff and allusions to what's going to happen. But he's like, all right, cool, and he's like, oh, sick, yeah, but he would have no idea what the hell they're talking about in that time. But we're like, oh, yo, that's some stuff that happens in Rome. That's boss stuff. And so, yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely think it's all right, he kind of had to throw in an epic battle scene, or he got gratuitous with throwing in the epic battle scenes, I should say, at the end. It was all right, I don't care about this war stuff. I can't remember because it's been a while since I read it, but the last big chunk of it is all just battle stuff. And while the Iliad is kind of like that, but the whole thing's a big battle, it feels more of an ebb and flow. This is okay, there's interesting passages, and the opening is really strong. I really like the opening. It's very prophetic and cool. It kind of reminds me of the opening of Conan the Barbarian, the movie, where it's in the time of what I was yo, this is fire. But I don't know, I just didn't really care about the battle against Latinus or whatever. It was just kind of felt it didn't need to be a battle. Literally the gods just make this guy pissed off when he's ready to chill. And I'm oh, here's the battle. And I'm okay. So it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'm not trying to drag it. And maybe I just would have enjoyed it more if it was less battle oriented at the end, or at least the battle was a little bit more interesting, not just yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't bad. There's still some cool moments in the battle. I don't know. I was all battled out by the end of it. Up next, we've got a graphic novel or comic, whatever. We got All-Star Superman. Now, this one was a reread. Dude, freaking banger, I gotta say. I read it before. I knew it was gonna be heat. I read it again. I liked it even more, probably. I mean, Superman is just such an awesome character, and I'm actually going to see the new movie tomorrow, which puts this in the perspective of time that, yeah, it's been a minute. I need to lock in and get these, considering I read this in February. And I'm now making the video of my recap thoughts on it. Anyways, dude, this is going to be such a tangent-filled vid. But anyways, yeah, dude, it's fire. It's just super hopeful. I love the art style, although some people I've said, some of my buddies who've read it don't like the art style. I do. I think it's fire. I think it's a really great depiction of Superman. It's funny. It's got a lot of heart. Some boss moments, and I hope the new movie takes a lot from it. And now, final one, another comic. We've got Kraven's Last Hunt. Now, Kraven the Hunt is it's just some shit I saw online that people talk about with the Kraven movie, which I didn't see. Kind of looked like ass, even though I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. And I also started playing the Spider-Man PS2 game, but I didn't really get to the parts with Kraven. like besides like some foreshadowing stuff. This was like my major like real exposure to Craven here, like my first. He's a boss, crazy Russian guy, loves the hunt, absolutely owns Spider-Man at the beginning of this stuff. Like there's this one panel I think at the end of the first issue where Spider-Man's just in a net and Craven's just got the Glock on him, and that's it. Like you're like, whoa, damn. But yeah, I thought this one was really good. Like a lot of like man versus beast vibes, and like I don't know, Craven. I almost feels like Craven is like the main character of this. I mean, it's called Craven's Last Hunt. Like it's a Spider-Man story, and Spider-Man is very central to it, but he's also like dead and buried for most of it. Whereas it's more about Craven. Like Craven puts on the Spider-Man suit, which is the black suit, which is badass. I mean, just a cool looking suit for real. And he just goes dog mode and pretends to be Spider-Man, but he's like I am the Spider and shit, and it's awesome. I would probably have some more constructive thoughts on it if I hadn't read it months ago. Instead, I just sound like a comic dude, bro, which I am. But yeah. All right, that was February. Up next, we have what's next? March. We have Margaret Atwood, The Blind Assassin. This was gifted to me by my homie. And yeah, oh my God, it was so good. But it was like so depressing. Like I went from reading like a couple books a week to this took me like multiple weeks to read because it's just like, it's a downer. It's a fucking downer, dude. It's like about these two sisters in Toronto. And wow, dude, it's just, oh my God. Like, it's cool because there's like story within a story, and like, it's amazing. Margaret Atwood is so talented. I love The Handmaid's Tale and The Testaments and stuff. I don't know if I've read anything else by her besides this, but I need to read more from her just based on that, because this book's extremely well written. Just makes you feel absolutely awful, like god awful, like so terrible. There's like this twist at the end, and you're just like, oh my God, how could this get any more horrible, bro? And like horrible, not like the book is bad, like horrible, like wow, I feel so fucking terrible for these people. This is a travesty. And you like putting all the pieces together throughout, and there's a couple moments where you're like, oh, this shifts the dynamic, and then you're actually wrong. And then, oh, this shifts the dynamic, and then you slowly shift the dynamic until you put all the pieces together. And I mean, it's just great. It's a really great book. I feel like a lot of books, I've read a lot of books in my day, and I feel like I can kind of oftentimes predict, oh, like I've seen this trope, I know it's just going. Even like, and that's not always a bad thing, but in this, I just had no idea where it was going to go. And yeah, dude, it messed me up. I was just like bummed. Like after I finished it too, I can't read some shit for a few days. Like it just had me in like that post book, like, ugh, like just made me feel terrible. But on a different note, I guess, I can't remember if this book wasn't all happy. This was another gift from some of my neighbors back home. It was One Long River of Song by Brian Doyle. It's like a collection of writing. It's mostly just like anecdotes from his life. I really liked it. There's this really cool one about this dude who used to play like football in his hometown, and then he like comes back and just lives on the football field, and he's like a chill guy and like not a weirdo. Actually, even though you think he's gonna be a weirdo, and it just kind of warmed my heart. And a lot of them just like really. The dude really just like, I feel like he like could like pull like life out of every situation, which sounds dumb and stupid. And honestly, I wish I was more articulate, but I really liked it. He's a very gifted writer, really poignant. Like a lot of these are very short, but they're still very affecting. Yeah. Last one for the March pile, we've got A Sale. This was the last book in my Malazan journey, of course, until I read the Karnakas stuff and all that. But I'm waiting for that to be finished. Very excited to read it though. But yeah, it was really good. It was good. It was really. I don't know if I'd say really good. Obviously, the E.N.C. Esselman books aren't on the same level in my opinion as the Steven Erikson books. Unfortunately. But they're kind of their own thing. And this one, I was expecting it to be more of like a culmination of like the whole 16 books, like the main 10 and this one. But it's not really that. It's kind of a culmination of those the 6 Asselmont books. But I don't know. It's nothing. I don't know. It doesn't have the sense of finality that I wish it had. But at the same time, it has some awesome stuff. The main character, Kyle. Yeah, his name's Kyle in a fantasy world. I know it's short for something else, but it's Kyle. And I think it's hard. I don't care. If there's a main dude named Quick Ben and no one complains about that, then stop complaining about a dude named Kyle. But like, there's this one part where he just goes absolutely dog mode, and he gets like kicked off his boat, swims to the shore of this like foreign land, and he's just like fighting through like the best warriors of this tribe. They just like every day they send a new warrior at nighttime, and he keeps getting jumped and keeps just coming out on top and going absolute dog mode on them, and keeps getting messed up, and it's just awesome. Like, so sick. And then the ending is pretty cool, and there's like this weird character named Jethus, and you're like, oh, who is this guy? Like, what's his real name and stuff? And you think it's gonna be like this one major character from Malazan, and it's not. It's another character, I think. But it just like, I don't know. It was weird. It was cool though, I guess. Like, and I wonder where it's gonna go, if that ever goes anywhere. It was kind of annoying. It seems like they've like setting it up for the future, and I don't know if they'll ever touch it again. I don't even know if Ian C. Esselmont is writing anything but prequels at this point. And also, one thing I didn't like, or not that I didn't like, but it just felt out of place, was the Forquerel Assail in this book seem way, way different than the Forquerel Assail that are in the bad guys in the last book of the main Malzahn series and the Crippled God. Like, and I thought they were like a pretty homogenous race. Like, there's not a lot left. They're all on the same page. But these ones just felt different and weird. Like, they were definitely, I don't know. It wasn't that crazy, but it just felt a little bit off, in my opinion. IMO, hashtag. What am I saying? But yeah, all right, that wraps it up. Let me clear this fat stack out of the way. And we are on to April. Yeah, April. I was studying for the ASVAB all month, so I did not really have too much free time to read anything besides ASVAB for Dummies, which I'm not going to be reviewing because it's not whatever. Anyways, I read From the Corner of His Eye by Dean Koontz. Fire. I've never read anything by him before. Apparently he's a pretty big name in the thriller space. I'm not the biggest thriller guy. I read some like Lee Child and stuff, as you'll see in a moment, and all that, like some Jack Reacher stuff. And I don't know, but this was quite good. I was pretty locked in. Junior, the villain, is super. All the characters in this are quite unique and very fleshed out, and I like that. And like, it's like a little bit supernatural. It's pretty supernatural at points, but also pretty grounded. Like, I really liked it. There's this main guy, Thomas Vanadium, and he's like this cop, and he's got this crazy birthmark, and he's always doing these quarter coin tricks like a boss, and you're like, whoa. And then he gets murked pretty early on, so you think, and I'm like, oh man, like he was the coolest guy, and then he gets fucking canned. But I was like, man, I hope he comes back, man, I hope he comes back. Like, and you think, oh, there's not really a way he could come back. Like, maybe he could come back, but probably not. Then he comes back, and instead of it being like like they revive this guy, it was like, no, this shit's sick. Like, that's my dog, and he's back. And it was dope. And yeah, I wish I had more intelligent things to say about it, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And I would not be opposed to reading some more Deanie Boy in the future. And this was The Carpet People by Terry Pratchett. The only other Terry Pratchett I read is Good Omens with Neil Gaiman. Gaiman, however you say it. So it was like a joint book, and I really enjoyed that. And I know that Terry Pratchett wrote Discworld, which is, as a fantasy nerd, it's on my list, but it's also like $80, so we're gonna have to figure out how to slot that in here somewhere or somehow at some point. But it will happen, rest assured, in the coming years of the rest of my life. But The Carpet People, this is first one. I wouldn't say it was like incredible or nothing, but it's got that Terry Pratchett sense of humor. It's pretty creative because it's set in this carpet, so like there's like all this stuff, and it's like, oh, like that's just a random household object, but it holds incredible significance for these little tiny carpet people. And like lint and stuff is like, I don't know, it's just funny. And there's like a giant penny
I guess not giant, like to them it's giant, but it's like a penny. That's where they get all like their copper to make their tools from. And I'm like, this is pretty funny. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not that long of a book. By the end, I was my eyes were kind of glazed over, and I was like, all right, like I don't know about this. Not that I don't know about this, but I was just like, all right, like I'm ready to wrap it up. But yeah, those are the only two books that I read in April, and so I'm chopping right through them. And here's the final stack for this video. We have May. Now, first banger I finished in May was The Enemies of Rome by Stephen P. Kershaw. This was dope. I'm a big history nerd. I love Rome. I wish I would have kept taking Latin after 8th grade, but I was so ass at the grammar portion that I had to stop because I was getting like C's on the grammar stuff and A's on the mythology stuff, but there was a lot more grammar stuff than there was mythology stuff, so it was not an even trade. So your boy switched to Spanish, so yo puedo recibir un grado bueno. We'll see if the Spanish switch worked out. It didn't. But Enemies of Rome, fire. It's interesting because it's about the Roman Empire, but it's through the perspective of all the enemies they had. So it goes over all sorts of awesome stuff, like different like barbarian tribes, and it like kind of touches on what it means to be barbarian. But there's like awesome stuff like Mithridates, Vercingetorix, Pyrrhus, Hannibal, some Civil War stuff. Just it was awesome, like so cool. And history is dope in my opinion because it's like basically like it's like reading like a real life book when it's presented in the right way. A real life book, that sounds so stupid. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot we can learn from it. And I don't know, it's a narrative that's still ongoing to this day. So yeah, and also the thing that was dope about this is spoiler alert, but in July, in the July video, which will not come out because July is only halfway done as I'm recording this for a while, I read Caesar by Colleen McCullough, and it's about Julius Caesar. And there's this one part where he meets this Gaul leader, or like this Gaul leader comes out, and it's Vercingetorix, and he was one of the people who stood out to me most in this one, besides like Attila the Hun, who's also dope. I wish there was more on him. And I was like, yo, like I know that guy's gonna be a gigantic op and a major enemy villain because I know history, which I'm sure there's a lot more historical references for people who are much more well-versed in history than me who are like, but it was just cool to have that context from reading this. So it's cool to see how books that aren't necessarily like related in the same series or whatever can still inform your reading to enhance the experience. Up next, we've got Tripwire by Lee Child. I've also read The Killing Floor and Persuader. My cousin gave me all these books, and I like them. I mean, I think Jack Reacher's cool because he's just like a big buff ex-military guy, like who doesn't think that's sick, and he just goes around and does like boss stuff. He's definitely like some wish fulfillment and all that. I haven't seen the show, but Alan Richardson is like insanely jacked in that show, so like, of course, it caught my eye. But yeah, this one, at points I was like, damn, the setting's a little bit boring. Like I thought it was cool how it started off in like Key West and stuff because I don't know much about the Florida Keys, and I was like, I kind of wish it was stayed in that area because then it just goes to New York City and you're like, all right. But like the twist at the end is pretty good. I like how it all comes together, and like the villain is like, you're like, bro, the villain's just a dude with like a hook hand. Like what is this, some fucking like Peter Pan shit? But no, it's done pretty well. And I also like how at the end, like, first of all, Jack Reacher like doesn't work out, but in this book, because he digs a bunch of pools, he gets absolutely swole, and because he drinks a lot of water. I wish it was that easy. Not saying digging pools is easy, but like, man, I've been trying to get Jack Reacher swole, and he isn't even trying, and he's swole. I mean, that's how you know it's a book. But he gets so jacked that his pec muscle literally acts like a bulletproof vest and saves him when he gets shot in the chest at the end of the book. I'm like, all right. Bet, like I'm trying to be like you, man. Like I can't even hate. Like I'm trying to get like that. So that was pretty sick. And yeah. Up next, it's probably my favorite book out of all the ones I've talked about so far that I read. This Immortal by Roger Zelazny. Holy dope. Holy dope. Just gotta let that sink in. This is about a guy who was like, so basically the Earth gets like taken over, bought out by like this other race that I forget, these aliens, right? And this guy's like a infamous rebel. He's immortal. He's a couple hundred years old, right? It's not really sure how old he is. And he's just like a boss mode. And then he's like a rebellious guy, right? He leads a rebellion. And this is all before the book starts. You don't know. You kind of unfold it throughout. And then he like changes identity, and he's like a preserver of the planet Earth. It's like a historical planet, and he's like part of this committee to preserve it. And he has to go on a mission to like show this one of the alien guys just around the planet and stuff. And you're wondering what the alien guy's motives are, and want to learn more about the main character. He's so fascinating. And there's just like this really cool cast of characters that are along the ride. There's this awesome assassin named Hassan, and this book is like rule of cool, but also like dope, like historical references and themes and stuff. And at first, like, I remember I read this like a couple years ago. I didn't read it. I just read like the first few pages. I was like, this is some cornball shit. And I don't know what I was thinking, because when I reread this, I was just locked in the whole time. It's so dope. I wish I had more intelligent words. I don't want to even say too much about this because like I know I'm on spoiler mode, but dude, like if you like sci-fi even a little bit, like you have to read this. It's a short read, only like maybe not even 200 pages. And it's so fuego, gas fire flames, like, oh my God. There's this part where there's like this wrestling robot that's like unbeatable basically. But this guy is a beast, and he's like wrestling this robot because he's tweaking out he thought someone really close to him died, and he's absolutely freaking out. And they send this robot on him just to hold him captive, or just like calm him down or whatever. And he just goes dog mode on it, and it's like, this sounds so stupid when I say it. Like, you just gotta read it. Like, it's got some insanely well written fight scenes. Like, it's some awesome twists, historical stuff, twists at the end, lots of philosophical stuff. Just dope. You know what? I'm just going to say dope for like the 50th time in this video because I'm a dumbass. All right. Next up, we got Letters to My Son by Kent Earburn. I'm going to be honest, this one has some good lessons, you know, some good fatherly lessons in there for sure. I don't really have much more to say to it beyond that. I liked it. Kind of went through it pretty quickly. Didn't really stick with me a ton. I just also finished reading, which will be in the next video. I finished reading The Last Lecture by Rainey Pash, and it kind of reminds me of that a lot. But I mean, nothing really stuck out to me like to bring up about it more than I liked it. And I mean, you know, if that's what you're looking for, go crazy. I mean, you might enjoy some of these wisdom anecdotes. I certainly think I took some stuff from it. Oh, show. All right. Finally, The Heaven Makers by Frank Herbert. Now, Frank, my guy, what were we thinking with this one, dude? You wrote Dune, probably, I think, before this. Then this is just weird, bro. Just about like some freak named Fraffin who's like an alien who runs our planet and likes to be like a weirdo and like give humans to his crew members as like sex slaves and bribes and stuff. And like, it's just, I don't know, it's not very interesting. It's not very imaginative compared to his other Frank Herbert stuff. Even the other book, The Green Brain, I read, which I believe is in my January video, felt more imaginative and stuff. And that one wasn't perfect, but I liked it better than this one. This one was just like, I was just like reading it just to get through it. I was like, and it's short, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to chunk this out because like nothing's happening. And like, I don't know, it was like, I don't know, it just kind of ends. And you're like, oh, all right. Like, okay. Like, all right, Frank, like, I don't know, but hopefully Dune Part 3 is fire, and then I can forget about this. Okay, maybe that's a little bit harsh, but yeah. All right, so that was everything I read from February to May. I'm going to drop that June video soon, or, you know, maybe I'll upload them at the same time because I'll probably record it tomorrow. But yeah, that's Curdy's Thoughts. I'm back. I won't say better than ever because I only made like 2 other videos before this, so the bar is low. But we're here, we're cooking, reviewing the books, and I promise I will have some more coherent and in-depth thoughts in my June video because I'm not just recapping the last 4 months of books I read, but it'll be more recent. Peace.